Her supporters are waiting for her, their leader, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, president of Argentina. Cristina, as they call her, has just had 3 weeks off for health reasons. This is her first appearance in public since then.
It's so wonderful to see our president. She needs lots of our love and support. She's back now and we're here for her. She's changed the country so much.
That evening, Argentina's left-wing president addressed business leaders to hail improvements in domestic production. She was as lively as ever.
Le voy a pasar a Joaquín, que el 1 de noviembre cumplió un año en Exalmati.
Bien. Hola, Joaquín.
Hola, buenas tardes.
¿Qué edad tenés, Joaquín?
19 años.
Mi madre. Qué suerte.
Members of Argentina's business community are smiling in public, but some, when asked to say what they think, complain.
The government will spend another year squandering money and do so right to the end of her term. Public spending is huge. The government is spending a lot of money for its popularity.
Cristina Fernández succeeded her husband, the late Néstor Kirchner, as president in 2007. Though the economy is struggling and corruption is rife, Cristina has support. Millions of Argentinians believe the Kirchner couple rescued the country from bankruptcy and settled scores with Argentina's past dictatorship. Cristina Fernández, the new Eva Perón. Argentina was on its knees after the 2001 economic crisis. In response, the Kirchners sought to boost domestic demand. Measures were aimed at helping the poor specifically. Around 30,000 people live in this slum area along a busy motorway. The federal police have recently started patrolling the streets here. And a branch of the social services has opened.
Do you get welfare? Are you declaring the work you do? You still have the right to state support. Come with me.
More people now have access to family maintenance allowance, pensions and public sector jobs. 1 in 4 Argentinians have been brought out of poverty. But the policy comes at a price. To pay, the government has been printing money, which in turn fuels price rises. Even beef, the symbol of Argentina, has become expensive. One compensation, the football is free. What used to be only available on cable is now on state TV. Rich and poor alike suffer from inflation. The peso continues to fall. Argentina's middle classes invest in a safer bet to protect their savings, buying US dollars on the black market. It's not allowed, but it is widespread.
I am not selling the number of papers I used to. We have to do what we can to get by. I'm not a drug pusher. I'm not harming anyone. This country's like this. We're trying to just survive.
Argentina, coping as best you can. There's a picture of the Pope and Cristina Fernández on the walls of the offices of this union for domestic workers. The government passed legislation protecting cleaners' rights in 2012, sweeping away some of the abuses they faced.
Para nosotros es decir
We saw this as the government saying, we're with you, by your side. We're backing this bill and won't backtrack on it. Don't worry.
The union organizes evening classes and other training paid for by the state. Marta spells out just what gains they've made.
When an employee had an accident in the past, what happened? They were thrown out to the street and given nothing. They were treated like a dishcloth. Now, for example, if you are pregnant, you have the right to prenatal care and family allowance and help during the pregnancy. You can get state help.
The cleaners rehearsing in the union choir are in full voice. Among them, Javier, who prefers to be called Jasmine.
My boss is a woman. She's got nothing against gay people. She's got gay friends. I go to her house in my nursing clothes. I clean, wash the patient, and go home. I work for someone else in the afternoons and get paid by the hour. I like it. Thank God no one discriminates against me.
We don't discriminate against you here either. We love you so much. It was a bit weird for us at the start. We're older, but we love you very much. I love you like a son.
Argentina was the first South American country to legalize same-sex marriage and actively protects gay rights. Jasmine left his native Peru to take advantage of the change.
No country is more progressive than Argentina. I like this saint. I mean, Pope Francis. I like him so much.
In the wealthy Recoleta area of Buenos Aires, Cristina from Paraguay has worked for Mariano Latorre for 10 years.
It is made in Paris.
This one's made in Paris. He was conceived there. We'll call him Charles de Gaulle.
Mariano has earned well under the Kirchners. But like many in the private sector, from salesmen to taxi drivers, he criticizes the government's economic policy.
Companies generally don't like being taxed for nothing. If we could build roads and hospitals at least. But no, money's wasted on salaries and subsidies.
Mariano runs a debt collecting agency. It is doing well. 50 staff work through the day to try to get people to pay the money they owe.
Can't you get an advance from your employer?
Sadly, no, I can't. I've got big problems. My partner has left and this debt landed on me out of the blue, but I will pay it.
If you don't pay, we'll have to cancel the loan and charge higher interests.
Current policy encourages credit, debt, consumption. And we gain because when there is lots of credit available, there are always people who can't pay.
Mariano's main criticism is government interference in the economy.
The situation is disastrous. Argentina has had the lowest growth in the region over the last 5 years. Venezuela has been worse than us, but Argentina and Venezuela are the two countries with the lowest growth in the region. Uruguay and Paraguay now export more meat than we do. That's incredible.
Argentina, synonymous with beef, has seen its trademark industry slump. The Liniers cattle market is the largest in the country. Business here is bad. Traders at auction despair.
It's difficult right now.
It'll be difficult tomorrow too.
Workers say pretty much the same thing at this abattoir.
Business has really fallen off. We kill fewer animals than we used to do. A lot of abattoirs have closed.
"600 cows are slaughtered each day, half the number of a year ago. Production has fallen because beef production is not as profitable. The government taxed meat exports heavily to boost domestic demand, but the profits came from the exports.
The government's goal was to get people to eat more meat and at a cheaper price. But their policy increased prices and people are eating less meat.
Daniel Lopez stopped exporting and sold to a sluggish domestic market, along with many producers. His business has suffered.
All the governments managed to do was to give people cheaper, lower quality cuts of meat. Everyone has lost out.
As things stand now, Argentina could soon be importing meat, a last straw. The economic crisis has not sunk Cristina Fernandez at the presidential palace. She has around 50% support in polls. Popular with the poor, she is decried by the wealthy. The middle class is split on her record. The government organizes political events such as cultural Saturdays in the Villa 31 district of Buenos Aires each week. Young pro-government activists look on, applaud and cheer, chanting slogans. While on stage, culture ministry officials slam political opponents.
Donde la Presidenta y la Nación dice presente en nuestro barrio. Queremos agradecerle por todo lo que nos da, por todo lo que hace por nuestro barrio, cuando debería estar otro, cuando esta ciudad está comandado por un señor llamado Mauricio Macri que no hace nada. Toda una fiera, ¿sabes cómo lo hago? Como circular el emblema de la calle yo la llevo bien presente.
Cristina Fernandez cannot seek a third term in 2015, but is working to ensure her party stays in power. Mariano on Saturdays plays polo in the countryside. He's joined an exclusive club. He and his friends believe the Kirchner era is ending.
She's somewhat authoritarian, not very democratic. She is divisive and shows little respect for national institutions. With elections coming up, I believe people will want to return to the institutions they know, to something more democratic.
Argentina remains the leading country for polo. It is for the elite only, with a horse costing 5,000 euros minimum. The sport creates jobs, but also reflects Argentina's social divide.
They're rich. They were born like that. We're born poor and we'll stay poor. That won't change.
The people in the Domestic Workers' Union, meanwhile, are dreaming of a better future. They have worked hard in evening classes and are now getting their diplomas and are given gifts from the government. After their rehearsals, the choir performs to its utmost, proud and determined. The Kirchner years of welfare gains and economic turbulence end in 2015.